And welcome to the 9 o'clock hour, 9:07 on a Tuesday here on McIntyre in the Morning. Leo Trell in for Doug McIntyre with my able assistant, journalist Terry Ray Elmer. How you doing, T. Ray?
Good morning.
And the whole team is in place. The A-team is in place. It is 9:07 as stated, 1-800-222-5222. The U.S. Senate yesterday considered 4 potential gun control bills. All 4 went down in defeat. We have Michele Byington, who's an attorney with the U.S. Law Shield and leading voice for gun rights. Welcome, Michele, to Talk Radio 790 KBC.
Thank you.
Michele, let me ask you, notwithstanding our Get Smart music, why can't there be a bill that's passed that both sides will give into? My point, there's one bill that I saw in particular, the one offered by Senator John Cronin, where he basically said, okay, there will be anyone on the terrorist watch bill, there would be a judicial review, and probable cause would be a standard as to whether or not the gun would be barred from, or the person would be barred from purchasing the guns. The Democrats were opposed to that. I don't get it. I don't get where they would refuse to even agree to a bill, maybe not up to their full liking, but something better than nothing.
I don't get it either. I'm with you on this one. It just goes to show there are some Republicans who are hard-nosed, and there are Democrats as well who are hard-nosed on this issue with no wiggle room that they're allowing any sort of political compromise. And John Cornyn, you're exactly right, brought that compromise to the floor, and the Democrats rejected it. And so it just goes to show the Democrats are in an all-or-nothing mindset. And it ultimately seems like if they're going to take this sort of approach, their goal is to have all guns banned from citizens.
I think you're absolutely right. People, as an attorney myself, look, the right to bear arms is a Second Amendment constitutional right. You got to have due process, and it seems to me that the Democrats are saying, the heck with the Constitution, the heck with the Second Amendment, the heck with due process. And then I go back to you, Michele, and ask you, is it all politics?
You know, my heart of hearts wants to say, no, it's not politics, but my common sense says, yes, it's politics. And I'm so happy that you bring up due process, because that's not something that we're hearing in mainstream media.
No.
It's the right to due process, which is what our legal system is built upon. And what's strange also is that it used to be the Democrats who were afraid to be on a list, and now the tables have really turned where the Democrats are like, put your name on a list, and now your rights are going to be cut if your name is on this list, even without due process. So what this means is if the Democrats have their way, is that an accusation could put you on this list.
Yes.
God knows how you could get taken off this list.
Now, the Democrats always point to the NRA as saying they're the obstructionists. Who within the Democratic Party of donors, who's the obstructionist that prevents Democrats from compromising? What's the organization? Well, I don't get it.
You know, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of anti-gun groups out there. Bloomberg, we know, has lots of money, and he is also very anti-gun, and he has funded several anti-gun political organizations. Even they're pretty loud down here in Texas as well. Which, you know, you think Texas, you think, you know, we're all, you know,
right.
gun totes everywhere. But even those sorts of groups funded by Bloomberg are very loud down here as well. And so I would actually, my first thought is to point the finger at that donor.
Yes. Now, I noticed that there was a couple of Republicans, Kelly Ayotte in New Hampshire. You had Senator Curt in Chicago, who joined the Democrats on the bill that was sponsored by Senator Dianne Feinstein. That bill went down to defeat. And when I look at those two Republicans switching over, I don't think it's in the spirit of compromise. I think they're getting heat from a potential tough campaign this upcoming November.
It's politics. You called it earlier. It's politics.
As it now, can the American public conclude that there's going to be no subsequent bills being introduced in the Senate, notwithstanding a tough battle in the House? But is it over as a result of these 4 bills, or what do you see, if anything, occurring regarding trying to get some piece of legislation through?
I don't think it's over. I think that both Republicans and both Democrats are going to pound their chest, whichever their constituents lead them. They're going to pound their chest, whether it be an anti-gun bill or a pro-gun bill. Apparently, political compromise is out of the question.
Right.
And so I think there's going to be a continuous effort to get something pushed through. Whether it's successful, that I don't know.
Can they compromise? It doesn't seem likely.
It doesn't seem likely.
Yeah.
Donald Trump surprised many people when he tweeted last week some support for some type of expansion of barring those who might be on a terrorist watch group or a no-fly list. Did he alienate any of his core base with the NRA or any of his Republican constituents by taking that position?
Maybe. I think several people raised an eyebrow at that sort of narrative because it goes back to the lack of due process here.
Yeah.
And that's, when I'm watching the TV early in the morning as I'm getting ready to go to the courthouse or go to the office, and you hear Donald Trump say that without any sort of legal basis of whether there be probable cause found that this individual is a suspected terrorist, and here are the facts that back this up, and therefore there is probable cause. That I'm for, right? I mean, nobody wants terrorists in possession of firearms. Nobody does. But we need to make sure that you don't end up on this no-fly list or the terrorist list, and that I don't end up on it. And if we do, we need to figure out why we ended up on it and a way out. Because we've heard those instances where there's been a case of mistaken identity, where the wrong guy was on the list because he had the same name as an individual, or where veterans have been put on the list. So it's just that we got to have due process at the end of the day.
Michelle, do we know if he had his alleged meeting with the NRA that he said he was going to have last week?
I don't know that answer.
Let me just, a final question, and I think, again, we made it clear to our KBC listeners. The right to bear arms is a constitutional right, Second Amendment. Due process, the right to be heard, the right to have the opportunity to air your grievances. That's what I'm pushing. And I don't own a gun, but I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in due process. And the Republican bill by the senator from Texas, to me, protected the constitutional rights, and the Democrats shot that down. To me, that was a mistake. And more importantly, this killer, even if this bill was in effect, would have still been able to purchase that weapon. That is what's so surprising about this.
True.
He would have been able to purchase this weapon, notwithstanding the bills that were being contemplated by the U.S. Senate yesterday. And I just find this amazing that it cannot be compromised on this issue of gun control. I want to thank you very much, Michele Byington, attorney with the U.S. Law Shield and leading voice for gun rights. Thank you very much for joining us on Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Thank you for having me.